What's going on, YouTube? Today we have a very special video planned. I'm going to be showing you how I do some of my speed runs where I identify a ghost with only using a flashlight. We are going to be doing this on my 10.62 times multiplier, which includes no sanity, no evidence, no hiding, and no grace period. I'm going to show you the settings. I'm going to show you how it all works, what ghosts can be tested for and which ghosts cannot be tested for, and then we're going to do it on 3 different rounds, 3 different maps to see if we can do it successfully. So for my 10.62, I have 0 sanity restoration, 0 sanity starting, and the sanity drain speed is max. So this means we can have no sanity whatsoever. You're more than welcome to bring in tier 3 sanity pills to give you that 10 seconds of sprint, but they're not going to restore any sanity. So this is how I have that set up. Sprinting is on and player speed is normal. Flashlights are on, and honestly, I could turn flashlights off if I wanted to. But since I do videos, I do content creation, I do streaming, flashlights are always going to be on. And a lot of the reason I do flashlight runs in general is because I need something for you all to be able to see what I'm looking at. So we have the flashlights on for that reason. Losing items and consumables has to be on, or else you're not going to get anything at all. For the ghost settings now, the ghost speed is normal. 100% always means normal, whether it's player speed or ghost speed. Now, roaming is high, changing favorite rooms is high, activity is low, and event frequency is low. Those are your max custom payouts for your multiplier for these settings. Now, if you wanted to have a higher chance to get an event to happen, you could move this up a little bit. You're going to get a little bit of a less payout, but it may be worth it if you were trying to do like a perfect game or something. Since I'm just using a flashlight to identify these ghosts, obviously we're not going to get a perfect game. I'd be lucky if I get any objectives done at all. We're looking to get in there, get out of there, and just kind of take our money and run from having a high multiplier and getting the ghost correct. Grace period is 0. Grace period essentially means reaction time at the start of the hunt. So for example, if the front door slams and it locks and the ghost starts hunting, if you had grace period, you would hear the ghost making some hunting sounds, but it wouldn't be spawned yet. If you have no grace period, you have basically the door slam and it spawns immediately. That means if it spawns on top of you, you die immediately. If you have grace period, you have a couple seconds to get out of the way if you hear that it's going to be spawning on top of you. You're using your directional hearing to be able to determine where the ghost is coming from in that moment, so that allows you to potentially survive if you have grace period. Hunting duration is set to high. I like setting it to high so I have a little bit longer to try to identify what the ghost is. If I have a shorter duration of a hunt, I don't have as long to potentially observe the ghost, especially if it spawns pretty far away from me, depending on the map side. Evidence given is obviously going to be 0. This is 0 evidence run. Contract, setup time 0. Weather is fog. You can set this to heavy rain if you would like it to have a little bit of a higher multiplier. The only reason I don't use heavy rain is because some maps, it's very, very loud. I'll give you an example. Camp Woodwind, Maple Lodge campsite, and now the new Grafton Farmhouse rework. The rain and the thunder from heavy rain is so incredibly loud, sometimes it's hard to actually identify the ghost's footstep patterns because all you hear is the rain. So that's something to take into consideration. Door starting open is high. Number of hiding places is none. This is number of official hiding places. Think in your mind, hiding behind boxes, hiding in a closet, hiding in a locker. So all those would be blocked off and inaccessible, but you can hide behind a countertop, behind a table, behind, something that's not meant to be necessarily designed to be a hiding spot. Those will all still be available to you, and you can obviously still loop the ghost as well. You have to get a little bit more creative with your hiding. Activity and sanity monitor are turned off. Fuse box on the contract starts on. That way, if the ghost ever turns off the breaker, I know immediately it's not a gen. And it allows me to get a couple extra lights on at the beginning of the round so everybody watching the video can see better. And then fuse box visible on the map is off. I always know where the spawns are for the fuse box, so it's not really worth it showing on the map for me. If you don't know where the fuse box spawns, you would want to turn this on. So let's get into our first round here. We are going to jump into Grafton Farmhouse, I think. Yeah, let's do Grafton first, because I do need a couple more wins to get my Farmhouse Fieldwork badge that was added with the new Grafton Farmhouse release, which is 50 ghost correct on either Bleasdale or Grafton, so we're almost there to that. I'm excited for it. Now, like I mentioned, we're just going to be using a flashlight to do these runs, so everything else you see here, we can just throw on the ground and disregard. We're not going to need it here. These things spawn inside the round just because they're kind of like default equipment that it always gives you, but we don't need it. All we need is this tier 3 flashlight right here for a little bit of visibility. So let's grab the key and work our way towards the door. Now, before we go over there, though, I just want to kind of look at our ghost hunting list here and talk about what ghosts I probably wouldn't be able to test for if it was something that needed testing and I didn't have equipment to do so. So, for example, a spirit, a very cookie cutter ghost that can only really be identified If you cleanse it or repel it, start a timer and see if it takes over 3 minutes to hunt when you're in hunting threshold sanity level. Now, since I don't have any incense, there's really no way to test for this ghost, and it has no other abilities beyond this point. So a spirit would not be able to be tested for. We would have to just kind of eliminate it and accept our loss or take a guess. Aria would not be able to be tested for either, although I will add that if the ghost ever lit a candle on the map by itself, meaning that you didn't light the candle, the ghost was the one doing it, or a campfire for that matter, you could rule out Onryo. But otherwise, I don't have a candle, I don't have a flame source, therefore I can't determine if the ghost is going to spawn within that 4-meter radius of a lit flame. So I wouldn't be able to test for Onryo either. Without having salt, a wraith would be a difficult ghost to test for, but if you notice that it was doing a lot of activity in your area, but the ghost room was not there, you could potentially say that it's either going to be Phantom, Wraith, or Banshee, one of the 3 stalking ghosts in Phasmo. Then you can say to yourself, well, I need to determine, is it walking towards me from a far distance? Because if it is, and it's doing a lot of singing events, it's the Banshee. If it has Phantom blinking, where it's disappearing for 2 seconds at a time, but during a hunt and it has a very invisible view during the hunt, then it's Phantom. Otherwise, it's your Wraith. The Wraith is technically testable, but you would have to use process of elimination. And the Demon is a very aggressive ghost, although we can't do a Demon repel timer. The Demon is the only ghost that can hunt every 20 seconds instead of 25 seconds between hunting cooldown. So we would be able to do that with a timer as well. That's pretty much it. Every other ghost in some way, shape, or form is testable. Maybe not the most reliable way, but definitely testable indeed. So let's get started. And since we don't have a crucifix to throw in the front door to protect ourselves before the ghost spawns on top of us with 0 grace period and 0 sanity, we have to just be very, very careful indeed. So here we go. Let's get started. We are going in there in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to run right into the living room. Living room is easily one of the best looping spots on this entire map. And I gotta say too, I love the look on this map with fog because it almost is like a little bit of like a cheaty night vision because look how well I can see. All right, it's hunting. In the kitchen. Now listen to those footstep sounds. It's a very normal speed ghost. It's not fast. It's not slow. Gonna let it see me. Wait a minute. I saw Grandma for a second, now I don't see it at all. Keep moving. Okay, perfect. So what I did to kind of loop that ghost and kind of stay out of line of sight was utilize and crouch below this furniture so it couldn't see me very well. And then obviously crouch below the piano so it couldn't see me there either. Now, I think I already have a little bit of an understanding of what this ghost is because if I'm not mistaken there, it was Grandma model for a second and then it turned back into a crawling ghost type, whether it be the pajama crawler or whether it be the child crawler. I'm not really sure which one because it was below the furniture so I couldn't see it. But I definitely saw Grandma looking at me there for a second. So if that is the case, it's a ghost that changed ghost model for a split second during the active hunt, which would be Obaki Shapeshift. Now, what we could do to try to solidify this is maybe loop it again at a little bit of a different spot I want to be able to show you. That is one of my favorite looping spots in this map as well. Let's turn on some of these lights, and I'm going to turn on the light in this bathroom too. And one of the looping spots I'm going to be talking about here is the bathtub looping spot. Now, this doesn't look like much when you look at it at first glance, but this shower curtain that's kind of falling off here, it really stops the ghost from being able to get line of sight on you. That way, when you're looping it around this, the only time it's ever going to possibly get line of sight speed is right here. If the ghost was on the opposite side of that tub diagonally, and I was here. Otherwise, it should never gain line of sight speed on you here. And you have to use directional hearing to figure out if it's coming left or right, and then go the opposite way. Plus, we have a little rubber ducky here in the tub. How can you say no to this little rubber duck? You throw it down to the ground, it makes a squeaking sound, you love it. Oh, I'm not sure what just happened there. It looks like the ghost turned off some of the lights there for a second, and now the lights are back on. Maybe it turned off the breaker and flipped it back on. I'm not too sure. We'll have to see what happened. But my hope is that it's going to hunt down to that kitchen again, and it's going to run up the stairs, and I can loop it around here, see if it has Obaki shapeshifting. Total side note about this map, I'm a little disappointed with how little I've gotten a ghost inside of the rooms of the doll or the mannequin room. It's happened maybe a handful of times, but for how much I've played this map, really not that much at all. Wish I've had more opportunities. Bam! Here she is. Gonna bring her up the stairs, into the bathroom, watch that blinking pattern, see if we see Obaki shapeshift. Around the tub we go. Not seeing any shapeshift, honestly. Cool. All right, she got a little bit of line of sight on me there, but not too much. She sped up just a little bit, but it was still definitely manageable for a loop. And if you noticed, too, that when she was going around, she was kind of overshooting the turn, and she kept hitting into this little cabinet right here that's knocked on the ground. Then she would hit it and have to correct herself, giving me way more time to do my loop portion and not make any mistakes. That was really, really good. Now, another looping opportunity you could try to take advantage of would be inside of what I call the study. I'm not sure if this room is called the study. Hey, I'm just calling it that because there is a desk in here with a typewriter. So it seems like a study to me. And then you could try to observe the ghost over the top of this furniture as you're looping it. And the looping spot is through that doorway, around the furniture, through the hall, or the hole, I should say, into the bathroom, and then through this door back around again. So this is another opportunity you can take advantage of. Let's wait for it to hunt. It's going to be probably right inside that kitchen or the storage room to the right of the kitchen, and then we'll go from there. I must say as well, the time between hunts is very, very long. For a zero sanity run, this is a little bit peculiar. You would almost say to yourself, hey, I could see this being a shade or something, but we're nowhere near the ghost room, so there's no reason a shade would want to be this inactive, but it's definitely not going to be a demon. Okay, it's coming from the dining room. So it changed room, so not a Goryo. Goryos can't change room. There she is. No shapeshift as of yet. Come back, ghost. Ooh. I just saw her do like a little bit of a tripping step there, like where it seemed like she almost tripped and made a mistake, which could also be a sign of an Obaki, because an Obaki that shapeshifts into the same ghost model twice will look like it trips for a second and then it corrects its posture on the next blink. But so far, what we know for sure is that the ghost has changed room, so it's not Goryo. It's not hunting aggressively enough every 20 seconds without having sanity or any sort of incense to stop it from hunting for 60 seconds to a minute and 30, so it's not going to be demon. No Revenant speed boost when it sees us. No Jinn speed boost when it sees us from 3 meters or more away with the power on. And I do believe it actually turned off the power at one point in time, so it wouldn't be a Jinn for that reason. No Deogen, and doesn't always know where we are and rush to our location and slow down when it gets near us. Not fast enough for a young Fae that hasn't been aged inside of its ghost room or near its ghost room. Not fast enough for a Moroi with 0 sanity. But we have 0 sanity, and the Moroi is always faster the lower the sanity is. It's got a very loud footstep. I was able to hear it hunting from all the way inside the kitchen when I was in the living room. If it was a Myling, you wouldn't be able to hear it from that far away. So no Myling footsteps. It does appear to be getting faster the longer it sees us. We proved that we were looping it around the bathtub. So no Hantu. Hantu doesn't have the ability to have line of sight speed. Let's see. Where you going, Ghost? Here she is. Going around the furniture. There it is. I saw the shapeshift. She turned into Grandma once again. So we have double confirmed that we do have Obaki shapeshift. Now, one of the reasons it was so important to try to confirm that ability again is because you want to ensure that it wasn't going to be a mimic. Mimics can change ghost types that it's copying every 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So if it was showing Obaki on that first hunt, and then it suddenly wasn't showing Obaki shapeshift anymore, you could have said, hey, this is going to be a mimic probably. Especially since we have no video camera to try to confirm if there's ghost orbs or not. That's how you would have to be able to play that. You'd have to say, wait a minute, I don't see the ghost ability I was seeing anymore. Or all of a sudden, it's showing a ghost ability that wasn't there before, one or the other. So we can say for sure now that it's not a mimic. We can confirm that it is Obake. And that's our first map here on Grafton. It's as simple as that. We didn't need any equipment really to help us figure this out besides a flashlight to give us a little bit of visibility. And we're going on to round number 2. Nice.
Welcome back.
We were able to get at least one of our objectives completed by escaping the ghost hunt, which allows you to the ghost to see you and then try to escape it so it doesn't catch you after the hunt is over. So that was completed. 2,755 experience. And since this is a win on Grafton, it's going to go 1 more point towards by Ghost Correct for the Farmhouse Fieldwork Badge. Speaking of the Farmhouse Fieldwork Badge, why don't we go on over to Bleasdale so I can get another point over there? Let's do it. All right, we're in Bleasdale. Let's get rid of all the stuff that we don't need. All this stuff is going to go on the floor here, leaving only our flashlight, which is the piece of equipment we want to try to identify the ghost with. And let's light it up and get it on in there. Now, I must say that between New Grafton and New Bleasdale, I think I like New Grafton just a little bit more because no matter what room I have the ghost room in, it doesn't feel like much of a hassle. Whereas if I have a ghost up in the attic here in the backyard, it's a little bit more difficult to work with. So just for that reason alone, I kind of prefer New Grafton, but I would love to hear your comments and feedback in the comment section of which map you all prefer in the community here. But let's go ahead and get started with this round. We're going into 3, 2, 1. I'm probably just going to stay right in the foyer here and see which way it comes from. And there's so many possibilities. It could be in the tea room. It could be in the washer dryer. Back the side little backyard area there. That could be in the back patio. I'm actually noticing right now that that back door appears to be just a little bit open. I don't know if it started open like that. Oh, the door is shut, so it's hunting right now. I wonder if it's in the back. Oh, there it is. I can see it in the back patio. I see it like roaming back and forth between the glass panes. Here it comes. We better move. It is definitely gaining line of sight on us right now. Yep, that sounds a little bit faster. I think it got a little bit of line of sight on me as it saw me inside the living room from the foyer. So if it's a line of sight speed ghost and it has that ability to get faster the longer it sees me, no thank Diogen, Hantu, or Revenant. See if I can look at it a little bit longer. Oh, they're gonna come over here? No, it went downstairs. I gave it electronic disturbance, and it decided to just go back downstairs. Could be yokai. Now, it's definitely not a phantom. It's not disappearing for 2 seconds or more at a time to have a very invisible blinking pattern. So no phantom. Okay. I think we're going to have to observe a little bit more there. Maybe go downstairs. We're going to go into the dining room or kitchen area so I can hear it a little bit better than here in the foyer. Going through here. Turn some lights on. Lights are still on. Nice. Okay. So we're a little bit closer to where the ghost is spawning outside in that back patio. We'll try to hear a little bit better as to what it could be. What its starting hunting sound is as well. As far as speed, is it fast or slow at the start of the hunt? Because it was hard to tell because it immediately got line of sight speed on me. So I don't know what its true speed is without seeing anybody. I hear footsteps in the grass, so I think it's coming around that way. Yep, it's throwing around like a water bucket or water can. It's in the back door now. The normal speed ghost. See if it comes over here for yokai. I just gave it a burst of electronic disturbance there. It actually doesn't seem to be coming over here at all. To anybody who doesn't know how the yokai works, the way that you're going to want to test for a yokai is you want to be in some sort of general hiding spot, somewhere where the ghost can't see you. Because if they can see you, then the test has failed already, and you have to restart. But what you want to see is, can the ghost detect you, your presence in your location, from over 2.5 meters away during an active hunt by either hearing your electronics that are on during a hunt that you're holding, or hearing your voice during a hunt. So what I do is I try to get over 2.5 meters away from the ghost during a hunt. So it's on the other side of this wall, for example. And I hit it with a global push-to-talk button, which, when it's hunting, gives you a radio static. Now, every ghost would know from a little bit over 2.5 meters away where you were the moment you gave it that static. But a yokai wouldn't, because it's not able to detect your location from that far away. It can't hear you. So the yokai test is as simple as that. Get a little bit of distance away from the ghost. Don't be visible. Give it a burst of electronics. See if it knows where you are. And that ghost did it. So this may indeed be a yokai. We'll have to test that again just to be sure. We want to make sure we're not dealing with a mimic either. I hear it in the backyard again. Wait for it to come around. Probably going to go through that back door again, and I'll give it some electronic disturbance. There's always a chance it could roam in here and just not even have known where my electronics are, but just roam in here because that was the path it was going to take anyway. You always got to keep that in mind that maybe it went towards you when you gave electronics by chance, and it wasn't necessarily because it heard you. So keep that in mind. And the hunt may have ended. It may not even have come inside at all. Yep, I can hit the light switch. If the light switch is actively immovable, it's basically done hunting. If the light switch cannot be interacted with, the hunt is still actively going. Now, I don't want to try to do a yokai test from like an exterior wall like this. Like it. Oh, hey! What are you doing here? It's not dinner time yet, Ghost. I'm not going to lie, that startled me a little bit. I was not expecting that. There he is right there. If only I had a photo camera, right? These are the moments you wish for to happen in a regular game. You're like, I wish I had a photo camera to grab this ghost photo right now. Now remember, when it events, it has that opportunity to stick around that area where it finished the event, and it could spawn and start a hunt right there. You always want to keep away from it, because that's exactly what it just did. Hitting with electronics, let's see. Yep. It was just on the other side of that wall. Like maybe right there when I hit it with electronic static that you just heard, and it just continued about its way, and it had no idea where I was. This has got to be a yokai. That's twice in a row, so I feel confident saying it's not a mimic for that reason. And there was definitely over 2 minutes between the hunts and the attempts that I had tried. So we're not going to go in mimic for that reason. So we'll wait for the hunt to end, and then we're good to get out of here. Also, we're outrunning the ghost as well. I want to be able to bring up with my custom difficulty that I'm using. Now, I don't have on the 10.62 times multiplier I'm using right now a first object enabled. But when I'm doing a difficulty that I'm trying to get a perfect game, I will add one random first object because it only removes 0.3 to my multiplier, and it'll give me a free photo as well. When you're doing no evidence gameplay, getting a free photo is a really big deal. So even if you don't use the cursed possession and you're using it for a photo opportunity, losing 0.3 to going down to a 0.32 multiplier, or 10.32 multiplier, I should say, is definitely worth it. That's how I make a little bit of a change when I'm trying to get perfect games on this type of difficulty. But we're locking in yokai, and we're getting on out of here. That was a pretty simple round. A nice, easy yokai. And a yokai was.
Welcome back.
That's 2 for 2.
Some jobs ready for you.
Now let's get on to our last map, which I think we're going to have it be Ridgeview, because Ridgeview has one of the best looping spots in all of Phasmophobia, the dining room table. If you're looking to try to upgrade your ability to looping and see if you can loop around certain objects, and you've done crouch looping already around cars and countertops like in Willow and in Tanglewood, this is your next spot to graduate up to, the Ridgeview table. Let's do the same thing again. We're going to take all the stuff we don't need, throw it on the ground, and then leave ourselves with our flashlight here. And get on in there, light it up. Take the key. I think Ridgeview's got to be my probably second favorite map in all of Phasmophobia. I think the top 3 would be Willow, Ridgeview, and Grafton in that order. A very close fourth, though, has to be Sunny Meadows. I love Sunny Meadows. Out of all the big maps, it's probably my favorite for sure. Let's get in there, everybody. We're going to go into 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Now, this is a little bit more of a close quarter map for sure, so if it spawns on top of me here, this is not going to end well for us. But we'll try our best. I just have to be very ready to loop at a moment's notice if it spawns behind me or on the side of me, either there, upstairs, downstairs, behind, anywhere. Okay, thankfully it doesn't sound like it's around us at all. Maybe a little quicker footstep. Sound a little bit faster on the get-go before it even saw me. Possible fast swim. Now, it's not an unusual blinking pattern. It's not very visible, and it's not very invisible. So it's not going to be phantom blinking or Oni blinking. And look at, there's still stuff on the table here. It didn't throw everything away. So it didn't throw something every half a second, every time it threw something during the hunt. So it's not going to be poltergeist throwing, no phantom blinking, no Oni blinking, and it got faster the longer it saw us, for sure. So no Fae, Deogen, Hantu, or Revenant. A Moroi would have been even faster than that on a 0 sanity run, so the Moroi is out. We did have our flashlight on, so I think a Raiju would have been even faster as well, so no Raiju. No Obaki shapeshift to a different ghost model like we had on the Grafton map. And here it is. Oh! Well, this is very slow. Are you a Dio right now? No, what is happening? Are you a Hantu? I don't... You can't be slow twin. You don't have any line of sight speed. And if I get further away from you, you're not speeding up, so it's not Deogen. Interesting. Maybe a mimic? Maybe a mimic? I'll tell you what, because the first ghost was definitely fast down here, and it did have line of sight speed. That one didn't. So I feel like no matter what, we have to be dealing with a mimic. Because, like, that could have been a Hantu, and maybe since it was a warmer temperature room, but very slow. It could have been an aged Fae. It could have been... it seemed like Dio's slowness at one point, but no. And if it was a slow twin, it would have gotten faster the longer it saw me. Hi. So this hunt is definitely different than the previous one. And it has line of sight speed again. So yeah, this has got to be a Mimic. The second hunt did not resemble the hunt of the first or third. And nothing has changed. We still have electronics on. We still have our power on. Nothing new has been introduced. So yeah, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go Mimic. Mimic is the ghost type. Lock it in. That was a nice and simple one as well. Mimic, let's go. You know, one of the things I would really love to see, but I know it'd be super hard to probably code from a developer perspective, is if it can tell us inside of the game summary or the detailed statistics what exactly which ghost the Mimic had copied, but it would have to have like its own little area just for the Mimic specifically, which I know really isn't feasible. But that's it. We've accomplished what we set to accomplish. 3 rounds that we've identified on our 10.62 times multiplier with no evidence, no sanity, no hiding, and no grace period by only using a flashlight and nothing else. That was pretty good. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought. Would you like to see more examples of this or other challenges on the YouTube channel in the future? I know over on my TikTok channel, we do so many wacky and crazy different types of challenges and different goals to try to meet. And I would like to bring some of that over to YouTube as well in this kind of format. And if you would like it, I want to hear your opinion. Thank you all so much for your support as always. It's always really, really appreciated. And when I have more information about the upcoming Phasmophobia updates in the near future, I will be giving you those updates right here with a summary on the YouTube channel. But until then, I hope you're enjoying the new Grafton Farmhouse. Hope you're getting your Farmhouse Fieldwork badge. And I hope we're just having some good games overall. Until I see you all next time, stay crispy.